Welcome back. You're watching TVU's Most Wanted. We've already heard from Disciple, and it takes 4 people in Disciple to hang out on the show. And those 4 people equal one awesomeness that is Andrew Schwab. Just takes one of you to hang out. How's it going, man? How's it going?
It's going great, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been forever since we've talked like in person. I feel like we had you on TVU's Most Wanted forever ago. Then we talked on Skype or iChat about the live album, but it's been forever since you've been in the studio hanging out.
We're really happy to be here.
Yeah.
We as in the royal we.
The royal we. That's fantastic. Dude, how has tour been going so far?
It's been great, man. It's been a lot of really solid shows. We did rename the tour.
You renamed the tour?
Yeah, without Disciples' permission, even though they're the headlining band, we renamed the tour. It was originally called the Rules of Engagement Tour, but now it is called the Trapped Under Ice U.S. Tour. Because we've hit every major blizzard and have toured the Arctic Circle, a.k.a. Wisconsin,
yes.
Minnesota.
Did you guys have any?
Parts of
did you have any shows canceled
Nebraska.
Because of all that?
We were actually scheduled to play a show in Tulsa the day that huge blizzard hit.
Right. Oklahoma got tons of snow this year.
We were traveling from Dallas and heard about the forecast. So we tried to get there a little early to beat the weather. And so we went to bed that evening and there was no snow on the ground, and woke up the next day and there was literally a snowdrift.
Right.
About that high, like up to the side of our vehicle.
It's a wonderful feeling. And that wasn't like the only time that Oklahoma got snow. A couple weeks later, they got a ton more snow. That was rough for them. But was that the only show you actually had to cancel?
Yes.
Or? Yeah. That's good.
So we were stranded in Tulsa for 3 days. And nothing was open. Not a gas station, not a restaurant, not a road.
What'd you guys do?
We just hung out and played Black Ops.
Played lots of video games. Yep. That's what all the kids in Oklahoma were doing too, because they didn't have school. So they were just sitting around playing video games.
That's right.
Are you guys outdoor people, or no snowball fights or sledding?
We weren't equipped. I mean, none of us brought anything to wear, you know?
Wait, you're going on tour,
jacket,
though.
That was it.
I mean, you're going on tour in the winter, though. If you're going on tour in the winter, you got to be a little prepped for the weather, right?
You know, to be honest, I bought a jacket. But none of us were very equipped for how cold it was in certain states. I mean, it was literally like 20 degrees below zero at several of the shows.
That's too cold to play outside for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Too cold to play outside. So how's Black Ops going then? I know you're a huge Call of Duty fan. Are you enjoying it?
I'm a 41 on the multiplayer. We've been playing a lot of the zombies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you can play that offline.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing the level that's like the John F. Kennedy level, where you're in the White House and all that. So that's pretty cool. That's kind of the game of choice. All 3 bands on this tour have an Xbox.
Okay, all right.
So we play a ton.
You know what? I was actually talking to write this down, and they were telling me how it's cool to be on tour with pros, like Project 86 and Disciple have been around for a while. And they were telling me about this great advice they were getting from Disciple, and then I was like, what have you learned from Project 86? And they said, well, Andrew told us to bring the 360 on tour, so when we swung by home, we got it, and then a week later, it got stolen.
So it's my fault.
Yeah. They pretty much pointed at you and were like, that's not good advice.
I'm going to tell you a secret.
I'm excited about this.
I stole it.
Yeah. It was me. But you already had one. Why would you steal theirs?
I wanted another one.
Just wanted another. Did you steal the MacBook too, or was that? Okay. All right.
No, I did not.
Andrew Schwab has.
I didn't break into their van and steal.
Yeah, that was a huge bummer, but it's not a huge bummer having Andrew on the show, and he's going to be joining me for a little bit, so stick around. So, dude, tour. Let's go back to that. You're stranded for a few days in Oklahoma. What happens after Oklahoma?
So we escaped Tulsa, and we almost didn't make it out the day that we decided to leave.
Right.
And ourselves, and write this down, both decided to try to get out to make it to this next show. And it was literally driving out of this like frozen apocalyptic landscape.
Tundra. Just
cars overturned on the side of the road.
I saw pictures of like cars standing on end, and Oklahoma doesn't get a lot of snow.
No,
right? So
they were not prepared. No. So we made it out. We made it to the next show, and played the show, and then we had a few days off. So I flew home.
Okay.
Was home for a couple of days, and then flew back out. I had a connection in Denver, and no worries. Landed in Denver. Decent weather. It was like 45 degrees or something like that. Sunny.
Right.
I had a 2-hour layover. So I went down to my gate, checked it out, made sure that it was the right gate, and then I went and got some food. Came back about an hour later, and blizzard again had found me.
had hit while you were getting food in the airport.
While I was getting food, and there was 4 inches of snow on the ground.
You're kidding me.
And it was like when you think of a blizzard, like the snow going sideways because the wind's blowing so hard. I mean, it was like the cliche scene. And
now you would think Denver's prepared for that. I mean, Colorado, they get it. But did you get stranded again?
Yes, got stranded again.
That's got to be a bad blizzard if Denver, you get stranded in Denver because they're prepped.
So 2 blizzards in 1 week. That's a world record for me.
That could be a world record in general. You should call Dennis about that.
So that's kind of the thought behind renaming the tour.
Yeah, I can understand that.
At least for me.
I can understand that. Now, during part of this tour, it wasn't just all snowy and craziness. You guys have had a pretty good tour. But at one point, you said you were scaring some Amish people.
Yes, we had a show.
This story.
We had a show scheduled in a small town in Indiana, and they uninvited just Project 86. Like
just you guys?
Yeah, not Disciple and Write This Down. So they were asked to play. We were uninvited. So
who uninvited you?
Well, it was the community uninvited us. It wasn't just one person. Like the promoter said, "Man, if it was just up to me, I would love to have you guys, but we've got a lot of terrified people here in this community."
Terrified?
We found out it was an Amish community, and so. I wrote the guy an email, and I kind of gave him, this is what we're about.
Right.
Here's kind of like our statement of faith, We're just as Christian as these other bands.
We're just as scary as Disciple and Write This Down.
And he's like, "Man, I'm sorry, we just can't have you play." But wouldn't give me a reason. So then I found out basically from someone who was close to that guy or the church that the reason why they wouldn't have us is because some of the parents in the community had watched our Spy Hunter video.
Oh, no.
So that means you guys have to play it now.
Oh, yeah. Spy Hunter needs to happen for sure. For all of the Amish fans we have out there, just for all the people digging TVU, we need to play some Spy Hunter, that's for sure.
Now, something tells me we're not offending any of the Amish by telling the story because they're probably not watching.
They could be. There's
Small
a couple.
chance.
There's a couple. They just turned it off though, so we got to get into some Spy Hunter. That's got to happen. More with Andrew's coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's TVU's Most Wanted. Wrap things up with Andrew Schwab from Project 86. So tour had some hiccups, but it sounds like it was a pretty good time.
It's been great.
That's good. Let's talk a little bit about the live album. The live album's out. How's the response been for that?
It's been great. I think a lot of bands, over the years put out live albums, and the fan reaction is usually like, I prefer the studio version. Why would I want to hear another recording that isn't as good of, songs that I've heard a lot, many times. But we kind of recorded this record with that in mind, and we wanted to make a live album that would sort of stand out, even when put against our studio recordings.
Right.
And I think with our band, we're best experienced in the live setting, so we wanted to not only make a good recording as far as the quality, but capture the energy that just doesn't come across in the studio.
Right.
And what people have been saying to me is that they like these versions of the songs better than the originals.
That's awesome.
That's what we wanted.
That's awesome. I have to admit, I really enjoy it. We're rolling Spy Hunter right now, the live version on RadioU, and I remember hearing it and being like, yeah, it reminded me of the first time I saw you guys live, which was an experience, and it was awesome.
Man.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah, the live album is incredible. If you haven't picked it up, shop.tvulive.com is where you can find that. So, Andrew, what else is coming up for Project 86? Anything right now?
We are going to finish this tour. We've got a couple more release-type things that we're going to be putting out as the year goes on in celebration of our 15-year anniversary as a band.
Cool.
So we're kind of in the middle. 2011 is basically the entire year we've set aside to celebrate being a band for 15 years.
That's sweet. So we're doing, it's an accomplishment.
Yeah, the first part was releasing a live album. We've got some other things that are coming along the way that we're working on. Obviously, we have touring plans. Nothing official that we can announce yet. We're doing some international stuff coming up. We're going back to Finland in a couple of months, and obviously doing the summer festival circuit. So we've got a lot going on.
Cool.
And I would just tell people to follow us on Facebook.
Okay.
To get the latest news. Right.
Also, you're on Twitter as well. If you don't follow the Andrew Schwab on Twitter, you should. That's a recommendation for me. If you want your Twitter feed to be better, he's the guy you should follow. You can link up at TVUlive.com. Andrew, thanks so much for hanging out with me on the show today. It's TVU's Most Wanted.